Hello. I'd like to start off today by talking about ransomware. Excuse me. The amount of ransomware that's been in the news lately has really just bothered me. Like, I have no words for how much it really bothers me. Let's take a look at some of them. This week we heard, maybe it was last week, we heard that Riviera Beach, Florida, the city council and the people have voted to approve spending $600,000 in ransom to free up their systems so that they could get back to work. This is after, I believe it was a $900,000 spend approval by the city council or the township council, whatever the government is, to replace the computers and servers impacted by the ransomware. Also, we heard that some customers of another managed service provider were compromised because of security holes through the service provider's management solution in place. That management solution has said the problem was a compromised account, but still, an MSP failed to protect their clients, and their clients got hit with ransomware. Healthcare providers. There have been several that have been hit this year. Neo Urology, Estes Park Health, Residex, which is a software, which is a electronic personal health record solution. Aline Medical Group, Seneca National Health System, Shingle Springs Health, and Wellness Centers, all hit by ransomware just this year. Baltimore has been in the news frequently with their ongoing troubles of trying to recover after a ransomware outbreak and their refusal to pay the ransom. Other companies include ASCO, A. Dewey Pyle, Arizona Beverage Company, and the list goes on and on. All of these companies have listed in townships, governments, this year, 2019. And let's rewind 1 month prior to December 2018, when the Tribune Company, a massive media conglomerate that publishes newspapers such as the Chicago Tribune, was hit with a ransomware, and it disrupted their ability to produce newspapers. Their core business was impacted. And it's not like we weren't warned. We know ransomware is out there. We know it happens. We know companies are vulnerable to it. The infamous vulnerability known as Eternal Blue, made public in 2017, patched in March of 2017. Then, 3 months later, May-June timeframe, we hear about WannaCry. And then we hear about Petya. Then we hear about Not Petya. Then Bad Rabbit. And several others, all exploiting the same SMB weakness that is the vulnerability of Eternal Blue that Microsoft patched 3 to 4 months before any public outbreaks were known. And then now we're hearing Microsoft, security professionals, and even the National Security Agency for the United States of America, that's one of our biggest clandestine organizations up there with the CIA, are warning about another bug called Bluekeep. Repeatedly warning, patch your systems, close RDP, because Bluekeep is going to be nasty once it's exploded more in the wild. Security professionals, governments, anybody in the industry has really been pushing for better security that's based on even just common sense things. And despite all of our efforts, despite all the alarms, all the bells ringing to alert us all of the pending problems that is ransomware, we are still expecting a 130% rise in ransomware in 2019. We're on par to do that. Are you scared? You should be, and you're probably not scared enough. Think about going back to the healthcare providers. I've read reports saying that 16% of healthcare providers will actually pass a HIPAA audit. Fortunately for them, for the remaining 84%, HIPAA doesn't inflict fines until there's a breach. One of the requirements of HIPAA, along with PCI DSS and other common regulatory compliance, is that chance favors your company falls under are being targeted. Healthcare providers alone, 40% of them have been targeted by WannaCry or variants of that particular ransomware this year alone. That's 2019. That's just the last 6 months. 40% have been targeted by variants of WannaCry. Think about the other companies out there, like companies who take our credit card information. Are they vulnerable to ransomware? Ransomware, I will guarantee, continues to be successful because we're not doing enough. Our companies, our businesses are not doing the very, very simple things that are low cost to address the problems. So let's go over some of those. 1, patch your systems and then patch them again. And just to be sure, check for updates one more time. Patch your systems. The likelihood that a patch will break some critical piece of software for your business is lower than the risk for a massive outbreak of ransomware costing your company thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions, really. Patch your systems. They're free or part of an annual management solution, licensing for Cisco stuff. Regardless, patch your stuff. Monitor your stuff with an enterprise-grade anti-malware solution. I'm talking the big players in that industry: Cisco, McAfee, Symantec, ESET, even Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes now has a business solution. It's fantastic for them. Use one of those. Anyone you choose, as long as it's just going to protect you against 99% to 100% of the known threats that are out there. Because they will also detect zero-day vulnerabilities that behave like other known malware. They'll watch the program, execute it in the sandbox maybe even, and see what happens. And if it is a threat, it will block the application from running. Configure your firewall. No business that has a desire to stay in business should have port 3389 open. 3389 is remote desktop protocol for Windows systems. It's what allows me to connect to a server from my desktop and control it as if I were standing there at the server itself. There's no reason that should be open outside my perimeter. So close it. Find another solution. VPN in. VPNs are cheap these days. Most firewalls, any firewall that your business should be running, has a VPN solution for it. Talk to your IT staff, get one in place, and then close RDP. Restrict your administrator permissions. By policy and procedures, there's no reason that anybody needs to actively be doing things like browsing the internet with an account that can also install software on that computer. Create a secondary account, create a local account that you have access to if you really need your admin permissions, but really, in most cases, your IT personnel are the only people who really need admin rights. Restrict your admin permissions and have secondary accounts for those admin permissions. malware can install if it can't get admin rights. And one of the best ways to prevent it from getting admin rights is don't browse the internet with account with admin rights. One of the more tricky things that might actually impact business, but it's still highly recommended, do not allow elevation of rights, that is right-click and doing run as administrator, on programs that are not digitally signed and are not digitally signed by a certificate that you trust. I actually run into some problems with this in my day-to-day business, but it's a program I know I can trust, and there are workarounds. But anything that slows down malware from spreading is worth it. So that's something worth considering. These 5 suggestions help prevent malware from being installed in the first place. Now I'm going to spend a minute on what to do, what to have in place so malware doesn't hit you. One of the things to do is to use a modern business continuity solution, a backup solution that does real-time imaging of your protected systems. It allows it to spin up a virtual machine within moments, to having a cloud solution that it sends the backups to, and then you can relaunch the new server up in the cloud. We have seen too many cases of ransomware just this year alone, let alone last year and the year prior, to not do these very simple tasks that would prevent us from having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in recovery from a ransomware outbreak. For more ideas, follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and follow my company, Manhattan Tech Support, and K2so.com. It's been Mike. Stay safe.